Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Petrin. I'm with ShopBot Tools. Before I officially start, I want to give a quick little anecdote about not sleeping at night. My wife constantly takes hours to fall asleep and often wakes up during the night, and she's always angry at me and often punches me because my head hits the pillow and I'm out. And one day she woke me up and says, "Are you asleep already?" And I said, it's really no problem for me to sleep. It comes from having a clean conscience. I said, "What is your problem?" And she says, that was a very entertaining question. She says, "Well, Jim, honey, I don't have the problem. Your problem that you can sleep is that you have no damn conscience at all." So there you go. Stop caring and you'll go to sleep. So I am a sales rep at ShopBot Tools. ShopBot makes CNC machines. We have been for 27 years. We build machines that can fit on a benchtop. We also build full gantry machines, 5x10, 4x8. We can go 7 feet wide up to however long you need. We have built machines 16 feet long, CNC machines. So we're very experienced at building the machines. We have a particular offering and interest for cabinet shops and millwork shops, especially small shops in particular that might be working on a tight budget or have space issues. Our 4x8 machine can fit in a 7-foot by 10-foot footprint. That's a pretty small area to have a full-size CNC machine. We excel in video training and technical support. What's interesting about our videos, we have ample videos on our website, but also on our YouTube channel. Very few of them are based on selling you a machine. Most of them are based on how do you use the machine. And we have full training videos which entail a full training course of 15 hours of training, but we also have little clips of videos, maybe a 2-minute video. How do I set a tool height? How do I load a program? How do I set a zero position? Those are real life problems that new CNC users run into on a daily basis. In addition to being able to open a video and be retrained on how to do these operations, you can also call our tech support lines. We always have 3 technicians receiving support calls all day long. And our machines are all designed, engineered, built in North Carolina. So we also write our own software, the operating system. We are not using a third-party operating system. So if you're having a particular problem that involves software communicating to the machine, it's all in-house at ShopBot. We have the software engineers, we have the mechanical engineers, all working together to resolve those issues and take on those challenges. So again, especially if you're a small shop looking to get into CNC, we feel we're the perfect fit to provide that machine for you along with the training and know-how. We also have a bit of a niche in some larger companies that are using our machines in a prototype arena, or if you need to do a runoff job. I'm sure many of you have damaged cabinets in assembly, dropped cabinets in the shipping department, and you need a replacement cabinet quick. It can be very expensive, interrupting your production process. But if you have a ShopBot in a prototype arena, you can quickly go over and cut that one cabinet and have it ready to go. So please consider us in your future for getting a CNC machine for your application. I think we excel in that arena. One interesting thing about ShopBot, all of our employees, including myself as a sales rep, I have over 40 years of CNC experience, from hands-on programming and operation. Almost all of our employees own a ShopBot, and they're running their own crafts at home and programming. So we are all very knowledgeable and in touch with the issues that you're going through because we have gone through it. So again, please consider us for your future CNC needs. At this time, I'd like to introduce our new speaker. Tim Coleman is a division manager of SCE Unlimited's Chicago location. SCE is a division of Installed Building Products, a publicly traded company. They offer closet systems, shower doors and mirrors, and bathroom hardware. Tim is a veteran of the closets and home storage and organization industry. He founded Coleman Custom Closets in 1988, and in 2017 merged his successful business with Mike Douglas Flooring to create the Douglas Coleman Home Solutions. They have 3 divisions: flooring, home organization, and Hunter Douglas blinds, shades, and shutters. Tim has a range of experience from managing a one-man shop to a team of over 50 employees. He has spoken at industry events and written articles for Woodworking Network about what he has learned over the course of his career. So please join me in welcoming Tim to the stage.
Thank you, Jim. You are too kind. Thank you. I'm now going to get my cell phone that I forgot to get so I could keep track of time. It is 11:03, so let's see if we can get through this by noon. Magic numbers. So magic numbers, the truth is there is no magic to your numbers. When it comes to running a business, it is different than selling. It is different than building. Running a business is all about the numbers. Whether you use numbers to measure your cabinets, your wood, or you use numbers to measure your checkbook balance, you're measuring and using numbers. So today's session is going to be geared towards the business end of your business. Kevin did a great job on the internal, the people end, right? Making us think differently. This is going to hopefully allow you to think differently in running the business. So first of all, we have to agree on a couple of things. I'm going to go with the concept that 80% of what your business is are kitchens, 20% are specialties. Yours can be different, but I'm a closet guy. So it's not like I'm a cabinet guy, I'm a closet guy. I deal with melamine more than I do with wood. Your business is different than mine, and likely a lot of others, because of the geography that you work in, because of your clientele. Some people's clientele are higher end, some people's clientele are lower end. Specialty, what you specialize in, what you love, is probably more of what you sell. Shop and equipment. Some shops have a ShopBot CNC machine. Some shops have a table saw. Some shops have big series of machines, and some have the, what do you call that? Panel saw. See, I'm not a cabinet guy. What you believe is the purpose of your business also helps. And then, this is true, when Kevin was talking about the mastermind concept, the mastermind concept is just simple. None of us is as smart as all of us. And as you really got involved in the CMA and the Cabinet Makers Association, the real truth is that the strength of the Cabinet Makers Association is all of you. Because all of you together make up the value of the Cabinet Makers Association. If you want more knowledge, it's really simple. Get more people to join. Get more people to join, you'll have more knowledge. I have to start somewhere, so the numbers I present here are just to tell a story. Don't get hung up on the math or the numbers, get hung up on the concepts and ideas. One example is employee installers versus subcontracted installers. How many, by a raise of hands, were on the webinar that I did as the precursor to this? Anybody? And you all yelled at me because I did it wrong. So, Matt, thank you for the precursor to this. All of the numbers, I did my homework. And the idea of why people succeed, some of it could be just luck, hard work, experience, knowledge, instinct or gut. Have you ever noticed that some people just They just make the right decisions. They avoid this or they do that. They just make the right decisions. That's your gut. That's your common sense. That's intuition. You've heard the saying, it takes money to make money. And the truth is, it does. It takes money to make money. If you were to buy one ShopBot CNC that fits in a 7x10 shop, it would be X numbers of dollars. But if you buy an entire shop that is 20,000 square feet, filled with machines, do you think that they would give you a better price? And so it takes money to make money. The concept is that simple. The rich get richer because they have the money. The question is, how does this happen? How can I go from here to there? It's little by little, pennies turn into dollars. You do it with purpose and intent. It has to be on purpose. You have to have that plan. You have to have that passion. Dollars turns into hundreds of dollars, and then, oh my God, you've got so much money. All right. Numbers, money, compare, analyze, equals, and some of you may not like it. Microsoft Excel. The reason Microsoft Excel is the best tool is its simplicity in terms of how it works, but at the same time, its complexity and how you can merge numbers together. We're going to go over that a little bit. It is widely available, and yes, it's available on your Apple computer, for those of you that like that. It's totally accurate. It can be simple. It allows for manipulation of data, but more importantly than anything else, it allows you to know your numbers. Numbers equals cash. Would we all agree that numbers in this context equals cash? Yes? Cash is like blood running through your body. Cash in a business has to be circulated. It has to move. If it's not moving, it's not generating any money. So an example of that is, some of you may have done this, especially during the recession we had. You take a deposit here and you buy material for that job there. Take money here, buy material for that job. That's money rolling through a business, right? Like blood through a body. So I want you to be aware that it has to circulate, and the more cash in the business, the healthier it is. Have you ever heard of Berkshire Hathaway? Warren Buffett? You want to know what his problem is? He's got too much cash. So if we have too much cash, we go, well, we'll buy more mutual funds. Or if we have too much cash in a business, we'll buy a machine, or we'll buy a building, or we'll hire more employees. When you have the cash that Berkshire Hathaway has, they can't think that way. You want to know how they think? Okay, I have to buy an entire company. But it's the same concept. Cash has to move. Think about all that money that they've got, and it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. Cash has to circulate. In every business, no matter whose business it is, there are three areas. It is sales and marketing, it is production and operations, and it is administration and finance. There are three areas. That's it. Everything falls underneath those three areas. Sales and marketing is get the leads, sell the leads. Get the leads, sell the leads. Production and operations, make the job, install the job. Administration and finance, buy material, get paid, hire employees, manage employees, make decisions. Those are the three areas. We have magic numbers in each of those departments. So on the sales and marketing side, what to sell a job for? Salim, pay attention. Yes. Value of a rollout. The concept of a rollout is inside of a cabinet, you roll it out instead of a fixed shelf, right? What your sales or close ratio is? Cost per lead. How much does it cost to bring a lead into a business? On the production and operations side, what is your fully loaded labor cost? Cost of a mismeasure or go back, we all have them, don't be ashamed. Administration and finance. 1% 10, net 30, we'll talk about what that is. Accounts receivable at 30 days versus 40 days. A 50% deposit versus a 70% deposit. A 5% price increase. Credit card costs, and an 8-week sliding average. We're going to talk about that. First, we need to answer some questions. What is your average sale amount? This is where we have to agree, because I already did the presentation this way. So the average sale amount is $20,000. We're going to install it in about 2 days. It's going to make about 2 days to make it, so roughly. I don't know if that's true. Matt, is that true? Roughly? Okay. What does material cost? We'll say the material is about 30%. We pay an installer about $25 an hour. We pay a designer or a salesperson 10% commission. What does your overhead cost? 30%. How much do you sell a rollout for? We'll say $125. Total annual sales of a business is $1 million. Reason I like to pick $1 million, you can do the math in your head and go, oh, well, I'm a $3 million business. I'm an $8 million business. Just start multiplying, right? Now over to spreadsheets. So let's see if I could get this to work. Yep. So, can everybody read that? It's a little bit small. Are you okay? Or do I need to make it bigger? Everybody's good? So, what was that? Make it bigger? Really? Yep. Okay, we're not going to go that big. So we're going to say, how's that? Better? I aim to please. All right. What are your annual sales? What do we say? $1 million, right? What is your average sale? $20,000. That means we're going to have about 50 jobs in a year. Make sense? Right? About 50 jobs in a year. And we said that a two-man crew should install an average job in about 2 days. And how many people will it take to produce or fabricate? We said about 2. Just work with me. How much is an average rollout? We said was $125. What is the sales commission? We said was 10%. How much does an installer get paid is $25. I always like to come over to this side over here and say, is that a livable wage in your market? If you want employees to care about your business, you want to care about them, and the way you demonstrate that oftentimes is wages. It's not everything, but sometimes it's wages. So you want to make sure that they could live in housing, that they could have a car, that they could maybe get close to raising a family. So I'm just putting it out there, $25 an hour. What is the average cost of material? We said was 30%. And what is the average overhead? 30%. So in essence, what you're telling me is that your revenue is $1 million, your material cost is $300,000, your install labor is $492,000 in gross profit. Gross profit is, what does it take to make that job and install that job? We stop at gross profit because overhead is going to be more or less the same. Does that make sense? Whether you do $2 million or $1 million, your rent should be about the same, right? Your utilities should be about the same. So the idea is you want to pay attention to your gross profit. So if we have sales cost of $100,000, which is a 10% commission, and our overhead, which is rent, insurance, utilities, loan payments, trucks, etc., you should be making about 9% net profit, $92,000. Now, some people choose to wait to the end of the year to determine if they're profitable by doing their taxes. You might be one of them. If you wait till the end of the year, can you react faster in the past? It takes a whole year for you to find out whether you were profitable. I would encourage you to do what you can to get your financials every month. And if you pick a deadline and you say, I want my financials by the 10th, I want my financials by the 15th. If you pick a deadline, it is more likely you will hit your deadline. That allows you to make decisions that affect your future faster. We good with that? All right, so now I'm going to try this. Look at that. I actually Googled how to do that without using the mouse. All right, material cost we said was 30%. So if you add up your material cost and it is $6,000, you go, it's $6,000, that means that your markup is 3.33 to get to 20,000. Are we making sense? So if you have material cost of $10,000, you mark it up by 3.33, how much should you sell that job for? 33,000, right? 3.33. And the purpose of knowing your markup is so you can anticipate what your net or your gross profit is. Are we tracking? I'll start again. If you know your material cost, whatever your material cost is, and you want the gross profit I was talking about, right? So the gross profit I was talking about here of this 492 or 49%, if I want that gross profit, I know that I've got to mark it up 3.33, or multiply the number times 3.33. In this case, $6,000 times 3.33 will equal 20,000. We're good? All right. So in that case, that means that that job's gross profit would give us $9,800, $9,840, right? We're good with that? So now, if I have $1 million and I go down to my 92, if I want to sell one job more a month, now my profit went to $236. My overhead didn't really go up. It still stayed at about $300,000. And my labor really didn't go up. It's one more job a month. Right? I mean, it's not dramatic. But my net went up by what? From 92,000 to 236,000? Holy smokes. Just by selling one more job a month. If, on the other hand, I want to lower my price by 15%, which is 850,000, I go from 92 to 2. Because, again, my overhead and my labor is going to stay the same. You with me? When you lower your price to sell a job, you want to be aware of that. I know for me, during the recession that we had in 6, 7, 8, wherever you were, I had my guys driving around doing $89 grab bars for orthopedic surgeons. $89, didn't pay the bills. I didn't really make a profit, but I kept the cash going through the business, right? I was able to at least meet payroll, keep my guys busy. So sometimes it's okay, but you would rather make that decision in advance of doing the job rather than realizing after the job's done, you say, I only made $2,000. What to sell a job for? Oh, I already did that one. Value of an accessory. This is where I got myself in trouble, Matt. All right, so we said that a rollout was $125. I'm going to assume that there's about 4, at least when you do it. When you actually get the upgrade and you sell a rollout, there's going to be at least 4, which is an extra $500. And if I could just get 40%, right? Isn't it 40% is my number? You guys didn't know, but I already did this. No, it was 60%. So if I could just get 60% of those 50 to buy 4 rollouts, right? My additional revenue is $15,000. My shop labor, I'm saying, is about $5,000, right? But no extra install labor or overhead, but the shop labor certainly is higher. And material commission, so my net is going to be about $4,000. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but did you do anything really extra to get the rollout sale? You just happened to mention it. Maybe it was in the showroom. You just ask for them to say, would you rather bend down and look on the shelf, or would you rather pull it out? I know for me, I don't ever want to bend down. I don't want to bend down to tie my shoes. Okay, lighting. So lighting, we say we're going to try to get 10% of our customers, or we're going to try to, we're going to add 10% or $2,000 to the sale because they're buying lighting. So it's $2,000. Did I see Richelieu has a lighting display out back?
Yes.
What's the average cost of lighting? You know, just as a smaller job? Is $2,000 like a number we could use in cost?
That's on the high side.
That's on the high side.
Yeah, that's on the high. Oh, you're talking of retail.
No.
Manufacturing?
My cost.
700. Average job.
I'm going to keep it at 10%. Oh, Wait a minute, it was $700. Times 3.33, I'm at 2,000.
It's a big job.
No, that's the selling price, 2,000. All right. Kelly, did I just say it right? I said it right, didn't I? 2,000, yeah, okay. All right, so percentage of jobs. This is where the 40% comes in. I'm gonna say that if we try to demonstrate the value of lighting when we do our work, whether it's in a bookcase or in a kitchen, most people are gonna go, yeah, give me that. As long as it's not crazy, right? So 40% of them, that gives us an additional revenue of $40,000, right? And, yep, there's about a little bit more labor. Right, so I've got an extra $1,000 in labor. I've got an extra $500 in the shop to do all the extra work. Material cost, commission. So now the additional net, 22.5, which the math just didn't work on that, did it? Oh, is that annually? So one of the advantages of Microsoft Excel. Oh, it is, it's annually. So my annual, off of that 40,000 annual additional revenue, goes, 22.5 goes in our pocket. Just by being able to pick up a 10% mark up in lighting and a 40% conversion of our jobs. So 40% of that 50 gives us 22,000. So between just those two things, the 4 rollouts and lighting, we're at $26,000 in extra annual revenue. And that's if you just do it on purpose. Remember what Kevin was saying is begin with the end in mind, right? Begin with the end in mind. We want this end to be in our minds, yes? If you don't do it on purpose, if you don't plan it, it won't happen. Sales close ratio. So number of leads. I'm going to pick 10 leads so we can do the math in our heads. I'm going to say that if you get 10 leads, how many are you going to sell? Well, some people sell all of them, or vast majority of them, because they were referrals, and some people don't sell very many at all. It just depends on the company. National average, anybody have any idea? You're going to sell 3. You're going to get about a 30% close ratio nationally. And you remember at the beginning of the presentation I said we have to agree on a couple of things, and your geography and your specialty could cause things to be different, right? I do a lot of work with home builders, custom home builders. My close ratio with our custom home builders is near 100% because we're the only supplier. But if I go on a homeowner appointment, it's going to be lower because maybe they might bring in a couple of competitors. So we're going to go with 3, which is a close ratio of 30%. We're going to say that the average sales is $1 million, right? And the average sale is $20,000. So you have to have 50 sales. In order for you to have 50 sales, how many appointments do you need to go on to get to 75 sales? So the point is, if you have 200 leads, you need to go on 4 appointments with a 25% close ratio. With me on doing the math? Conversely, if you have a 75% close ratio, you only need to get 67 leads or appointments to get to where you need to be. And the point of this spreadsheet is to better understand how taking time to work on that appointment. Because I have been doing the closets for so long, sometimes when I go on an appointment, I'm kind of on autopilot. I kind of say the same things over and over, again and again, and most of the time it works. You know, because you're listening to what they're saying, but it's not like I'm hyper-focused on that customer every single time. I don't know if that happens to you, but if you do the work of being focused on that customer to increase your close ratio, it ends up being less work long-term because you have less appointments during the week. That means you have less bids to do or designs to do, less correspondence back and forth. Can you change this? Can you move that? Can you do a better price? So working on your close ratio helps everything. So if you think about, and this is the part that sometimes I need to be reminded of. When you go on an appointment, you're paying for your time, your gas, your brochures, your samples, the bid, Because you're going to do all of those things, no matter what your energy level is, you're going to do them. So if you could do less of them because your close ratio is higher, you actually become more efficient. Am I tracking? Cost per lead. This we could disagree on. All right. So I'm going to go with money mailer. How many of you know what money mailer is? That's that direct mail thing where they mail out one envelope and there's all these flyers inside, buy one pizza, get one pizza free, $10 haircut, right? I don't know about you, but I bought that at one time. And the cost of that is about $800 per month for a mailing. The magazine ad, that's that glamour magazine that every neighborhood has or every city or town has. And that's where they talk about the restaurants, they talk about the neighborhood, they talk about beautiful things, and it's a high-end glossy magazine. Let's say you advertise in there, and let's say that the ad itself is $1,500. Google AdWords, I'm sure many of you spend money on Google AdWords. That's where you say, I'm going to tell Google spend this much of my money every month, and when people do a search, my name will pop up in the sponsored ads, and you decide how much you're going to spend. I just picked a number of $500. Home shows. Some of you do home shows, and that's where there's a room. It could be in a hotel, it could be at an airport hangar, it could be in a ballroom or a banquet hall, but that's where they invite the public to an event, and there are many booths. And that'll be everything from selling cookware to closets to kitchens and baths, everything you could think of. Let's just say that the home show is $2,500. And a parade of homes. Parade of homes is where a home builders association says, we're going to allow all of our cool homes to either build together in one spot or we're going to scatter them around. They're going to be open for a period of time. They could be open for a couple of weekends. It could be open for a couple of weeks. We're going to charge attendance, and then the interior design feature is beautiful. All your cool stuff. Like you could even have a drawer that you open, and then there's a hidden compartment that I understand somebody makes, but I won't say CCF with the hidden. Am I right? Yeah? I know you're, there you are. So the point is that a parade of homes allows you to give product away in order to try to market yourself. So we're going to say that you're going to give product away of $5,000, just as a number. So we go, all right, now that's our cost. How many leads will we get from each of those? So I'm just going to say that that money mailer got us 5 leads. I'm going to say that the magazine ad got us 3 leads in a month. Google AdWords got us 20 leads. The home show got us 80 leads. And the parade of homes got us 40 leads. So if you just take the cost divided by the number of leads, that means that for the money mailer, every lead you got was $160, but for the magazine ad, every lead you got was $500. Am I making sense so far? Now, as an aside, let's just say that you've got 2 or 3 or 5 salespeople or designers, and you get a lead, and if we go back to close ratio, and one of your salespeople has a 25% close ratio, and another one of your salespeople has a 65% close ratio, and the cost is $500 for a magazine ad. Here's the lead. Who do you want to give that $500 lead to? The one with the 75% close ratio or the one with the 25% close ratio? We all know the answer. And if you share that with your designers and salespeople, and you say your close ratio affects your leads, you share that information with them, they might treat that lead with more value. Does that make sense? So, we're going to say that when we get a money mailer lead, there's probably a lot more competition. Those people are kind of just curious, how much does this cost? So we're going to say that close ratio is 15%. We're going to say that the magazine ad is a 60% close ratio. The Google AdWords is a 30% close ratio. The home show is a 40% close ratio, and the parade of homes is a 70% close ratio. We're all good with some of that? So now, when we get a money mailer ad, and we know that our average sale is $20,000, The money mailer is probably not going to spend that full 20 because they're going to be more cost conscious. So we'll say that that is a $15,000 average sale. The magazine ad, because of who that magazine is distributed to, is probably going to be a higher end. So we're going to say that that's $25,000, right? And we're going to say the Google AdWords is getting closer to our average of $18,000. The home show is spot on at $20,000. And the Parade of Homes is also going to give us a higher average sale. So now we go, oh my God, I got $11,000 in sales from an $800 ad. I got $45,000 in sales from spending $1,500. I got $108,000 sales and spending $500. And I got $640,000 in sales from the home show. I got $700,000 in sales from the Parade of Homes. However, the net profit, because of our costs, right? So the net profit becomes different. So now, the money mailer, through all of that work, you made $1,000. And then you look at your advertising or your marketing, and you're like, all of that work, I went on, in this case, 5 appointments, because you had 5 leads. I did 5 designs, 5 bids, and I only made $1,000. I'm not doing that anymore, right? So if you just think about where you spend your money and you keep track of your numbers, those numbers can become magic in understanding what to do better. Am I making sense? So 23% return on investment versus 96, 92, 95. And I'm not saying that any of these methods are the way you do it, but if you just change it around, it will help you better understand your business. Now, you will need to either increase the close ratio or increase the average sale. Is it worth it to go through all of this for the net profit that will be generated? And what I'm trying to get to here is if I increase my average sale by 15%, it makes things better. If I increase my close ratio by 15%, it makes things better. So now, all of a sudden, I'm going from, let's say, a 92 at the Parade of Homes to a 94. And so it allows us these little tweaks. It's almost like levers in a business. What are the levers you could adjust, the knobs you could turn to just tweak it a little bit? Fully loaded labor. So how many hours are there in a work year? Anybody know? 2080. That's 40 hours times 52 weeks equals 2,080. We're going to say that the $25 an hour is what we agreed to. That's our annual income of $52,000. We know that our cost, 7.65%, is what we have to match, yes? We all agree? If you have an employee and you don't pay them cash, you have to match for FICA, right? All that. So that's 7.65%, so now it's $3,978. Do you get paid holidays? Let's just say 7. Vacation pay? Do you give 1 week, 2? What should we use? Well, a lot of you have employees that have been around a while. They're getting at least 2 weeks, aren't they? Let's talk about 10 days. The health insurance, maybe you're paying for all of it, but likely you're not. And so I'm just going to say your cost per employee is about $200 a month. Wait a minute. Hang on. It might be 24. Oh, it did annualize it, 2,400. Good. Is it way low? You want me to make it higher? What number do you want me to type in? $1,000. So $12,000 is your annual cost. Other benefits. Other benefits could be, do you give them a truck? Do you allow them to pay for gas? Do you give them employee pricing on certain things that they could buy from you? Do you have like Wednesday donut day and Friday lunch day? Do you have any other benefits that you give them? Shoot out a number because I'll just type it in. $300 a month, okay. So that's $3,600. So that $25 an hour is $74,978 or $3,857 all in. And you're not making any money on that. So just, if you're bidding a job and you say, well, the labor's going to be, I'm going to charge $40 an hour because I'm only paying them $25. You've got to know your labor costs. And this is really a simple method. I mean, this is not intense by any means. You've got to know your labor costs. Cost of a mismeasure, I love this one. So, in my introduction, you heard that I took over a company a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago. And the employees there were just used to doing the same thing the way that they always did. If they didn't finish today, they'd finish tomorrow. Then tomorrow's job would get bumped to the next day, and it just kind of happened that way. So that was one problem. Another problem was they didn't think it was a big deal to go back and do something. So in the closet world, there's things called accessories like valet rods and tie racks. It was not uncommon that they would forget a valet rod or a tie rack. They just forgot to put it on a truck. But I thought, oh, no big deal. I'll just drive by in the morning on my way to my next job, and I'll pop that in. They actually use the word pop that in. So I said, okay, so you're going to leave the shop, you're going to drive there, you're going to get out of your truck, you're going to get your tool, you're going to walk to the job, you're going to ring the doorbell, or you're going to go walk in on the new construction. You're going to go do it, pop. You're going to load your tools up. Oh, wait, you got a vacuum. You're going to load your tools up. You're going to go back to your truck. You're going to drive to the job. How long did that take? Who said 5 hours? You're more spot on than you know. So, all right. So, cost of a mismeasure. We're going to say that the material cost of that mismeasure, the actual material cost, was $75. That doesn't sound bad, does it? $75. Maybe need a new shelf or whatever. It's not a big deal. We know that our go-back travel is $38.57 because we just figured out what our all-in labor cost was. We know that no matter what, it's going to take them an hour to be, by the time they unload the truck, get in the house, right? And then that's the extra hour to produce it, pull it out of the shop, make it whatever it is, right? And cost for mileage, 30 miles, either 15 miles round trip or 30 miles or whatever. So our cost on the truck is $17.50, 55 cents. So the total extra cost is $208. So that's actual money out of our pocket, $208. Actual cash out of the business. We might say, well, but that job was an $80,000 job, so that doesn't seem so bad. Okay. However, in order to get that $208 back, you have to sell or earn another $2,263 in revenue. Because remember that 9% net profit? So I got to take that $208 divided by 9% equals $2,263 just to get back to even. You tracking with me? If that happens once a week for a year, just once a week for a year, money out of pocket is $10,000. But the annual revenue that you need to get back to even is $117,000. So if you have $1 million business, you don't. You have an $883,000 business, and that's only once a year for $75. You want to be able to understand the cost of a mismeasure or a mistake. When I shared this with our guys, they were shocked. Like, literally, oh my gosh. Then the pendulum swung the other way almost like too much, because now they're working overtime to make sure that they finish the job. The truth is, working overtime is less money than this. Not to mention that if they go back on if they do the job on Monday and they go back on a Tuesday, then that Tuesday's job is going to cause them to go back to that job on Wednesday morning. Then the Wednesday job starts at noon. Then the Thursday job starts at 2, and the Friday job never happens. And then you go, well, we got to get it done, so we're going to go on Saturday and we're going to pay overtime. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to maintain consistency of our volume, of our revenue. It would be beautiful. Well, I'll get to that. I'll talk about the beautiful in a minute. All right, next. Oh, I already did that one. So this struck me 30 years ago when I learned it. It kind of went away when the recession hit and a lot of vendors and suppliers took away payment terms. Payment terms are when you get a bill and the vendor says to you, if you pay that bill, let's say in this case, in 10 days, I'll take 1% off of your invoice. So if you have a $500 bill for edge banding from DC, is $500 normal or is it $2,500 for edge banding? You'll go with $500. So if you have a $500 bill and they say, if you pay that within 10 days, you could take 1% off. And you're like, it's $5. You're not motivating me. So, this is the message I want to try to send. I just want you to be aware of it. If you can get payment terms from your suppliers, not all will, but if you can, and you have the cash, because cash in a business allows it to circulate, right? The rich get richer. You start saving pennies, then you save dollars, right? We're all agreeing into that? So, the Bureau of the Fiscal Service of the federal government gives this out to its suppliers. And I had to Google it. It's the Treasury Department. So, 1%, right? And your normal payment terms are 30 days. The payment is 10 days. You have to pay that bill in 10 days. It equals 18.2% return on your investment. You're not getting that anywhere. 18.2%. You pay that $500 bill over and over and over. We buy the same things all the time. We buy the same products. Now, it might not be always the same quantity, or we might not buy it always at the same time, but we're buying the same stuff over and over. Let's find vendors that we could work with. Let's see if we could get cash in the business, because 18% on our cash is better than the net profit on the business. It's twice, right? Why do you think that the money, what do you call those? Factorers. Have you ever heard of a factorer? Factor is where you could sell your accounts receivable. They give you 96% on the dollar, 96 cents on the dollar. But what they're doing is this. They're rolling it over the course of 12 months. Same concept. All right. I'm working on it, Amanda. All right, AR, 30 days to 40 days. So accounts receivable. Some of you may not have accounts receivable. I'm okay with that. But some of you may. So for those of you that work with, let's say, builders that build a house, you got to wait for the waiver, right? You know, and get paid on things. Or you give customers time to pay their bill. So accounts receivable at 30 days, which is standard, you know, when you get an account, you say, I'm going to give you 30 days. So that's standard, 30 days. And that's ideal. So that means that if you do $1 million, on average, you're going to have your accounts receivable at $82,000, roughly. So if you could think about it this way, you're doing work but not getting paid for it right away, and you're being the bank to all of your customers for the $82,000, because that's not money in your pocket, right? So now we come along and we go, well, let's say that the truth is they don't pay us in 30, they pay us in 40. They pay us in 40 days. That doesn't seem like a lot longer. So now they're going to pay us in 40 days. Our accounts receivable went from 82 to 109,000. Now here's the trick. That's $82,000 that's not in your business to run your business, to buy more things, to cover payroll, right, to pay utilities or rent. You allow your accounts receivable to get to just 40 days. Now there's $109,000 that's not in your business, helping you to run your business. In the first scenario, your money turns every 12 times. That's the circulation in the body, right? Circulation in the business. At 40 days, your money turns every 9 times a year. And if you allow your business to get to 60 days, you now have $164,000 that's not in your business, running your business, and it only turns every 6 days, or 6 months. That's a ton of money. In this case, it's $82,000 that's not available to help you. And that's just the little things. So if you just take all of these little things and you tweak them, you know, the knobs, the dials, the levers. Am I good so far? Are you guys okay? Sometimes numbers could be a problem because I'm not hearing a lot of fun. Kevin would not be happy. All right. Some of you are mad at me for showing you this. All right. We all take deposits when we do work if we could get it, because we would rather use the customer's money rather than our money to buy material, pay for labor, yeah? The normal, for as long as it's been around, is 50% deposit. And why was it 50% deposit? Because way back when, at some point, what they did is that if they bought a widget for $1, they sold it for $2. That's kind of how you did it. Take whatever my material cost is, double it, and sell it for that. That's kind of what happened. You buy a gallon of milk for $2, that means that the grocery store paid $1 for it. That's kind of what happened, right? I mean, generally speaking. So that's where the 50% deposit came from. However, your typical deposit is 50%. So now you sell a $20,000 job, you get a $10,000 deposit, your material cost is $6,000. Remember, it's 30% with me? And your labor is 21%. So total cost, $10,160. So really, every $20,000 job you sell that you take a 50% deposit on, you're out of pocket $160. That's not the way it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to be more money in our pocket. We're supposed to use their money to grow our business. So, if you have one job a week, $20,000 job a week, right? 20,000 times 50 weeks is $1 million. If you have one job a week and your lead time is, give me a number in weeks, I got 6. Oops. Is 6 weeks a decent lead time to understand this model? Are we good with 6 weeks? So if 6 weeks is the average lead time, that means you got 6 jobs in the pipeline. That means you have $60,000 in deposits. That means out of pocket is $60,960. Out of pocket. The more jobs you sell, the worse it gets. Right? Conversely, if you just go from a 50% deposit to a 70% deposit, the deposit is $14,000, and now you've got that difference in your pocket, right? Which allows you to help on the accounts receivable side. It allows you to have an extra total, same 6-week cycle, of $23,000 of cash in the business. Cash in the business by increasing your deposit from 50 to 70. Yeah?
Tim, one cautionary too, some states have regulations on deposits.
Fair point, Will. So what Will is saying is that some states, your state, may restrict how much you could take as a deposit. Fair point. Get what you can. I will also say this. When I first when we were first thinking about this, I just had a hard time asking for more than half. It was me. You know, I mean, I'd been in the business a very long time. I had the things that I said down pat. I felt guilty about it. Somebody else who was newer just thought that they should, and they said 70% deposit, and the person wrote the check or put it on their credit card. And they didn't think twice. And the first time I did that, and they said, what's the deposit? And I just typed it was an email. I typed 70%, call me with your credit card. But they didn't think anything of it. Then if they don't want to, you say, okay, well, that's fine. Right? Let them be the ones to say no. Because the majority of them will just follow, because that's your business model. That's what you do. Am I okay so far? All right. Last year was a crazy year with price increases, yes? Everything went up. So again, give me wood. How much did wood go up on a percentage basis last year? Give me a number. Was it 10% or 40%? 40. Accessories. Accessories, anything like Rev-A-Shelf, any of those accessories, what did they go up last year? 25. And hardware. How much did hardware go up? That's all your screws and hinges and everything else. How much did that go up? 10%. I had 10. All right. My point in this story is this. if your average sale is $20,000 and your average material cost is $6,000, your labor is $41.60, you get your gross profit of $98.40 or 49%. We've all agreed to that because we've been doing it this entire session, yes? So now, if we say that we accept a 5% price increase, but we do not raise our price, because we have to raise our price. If we do not accept if we accept the 5% price increase, but don't raise our price accordingly, now what happens is our profit goes from $98.40 to $95.40. So we just lost $500 or $300, just because we didn't raise the price, right? If we don't raise the price and we accept a 10% price increase, our profit goes to $92.40 instead of $98.40. That's $600. And if we accept a 30% price increase, our profit goes to $8,000. Now here's the rub. If you do this and annually, right, because you got 50 jobs, so you're going to lose 15,000. Your net goes from 92 to 77. If you accept a 30% price increase for a whole year and don't raise your prices, your net goes from $92,000 to $2,000. Just in a price increase. The problem with a price increase is it's subtle. You don't really, because I don't know about you, but generally you're designing a job, you bid a job off of some type of a price list. I don't care if it's $500 a lineal foot for cabinets, or you do it piecemeal and you say, I need, 13 sheets of 4x8 blank. Whatever it is, you calculate your price. If you're doing your math and you're not keeping up with the price increase because that's happening over here, then you're missing this. Here's the scary part. If you just take 2 months from the time the price increase goes into effect until the time you implement a selling price increase, just 2 months, if it's a 5% increase, you lose $2,500, and if it was a 30% increase, you lose $15,000. That's just a price increase. You could lose $15,000 on the jobs that you're selling because you didn't pass along that price increase. My point is that when you have the dramatic price increases we had last year, we couldn't keep up. There were jobs you bid that you didn't buy the material for, that you lost money on because you didn't escalate that price. We all did it. All right. Credit card fees. How much does everybody pay in credit card fees? 3%. I agree. And the average annual transaction cost, 50%. 50% of our customers give us a credit card. Is that right or wrong? What percentage of our customers pay us with a credit card? Half? So you get 5% of your customers pay by credit card. Majority pay by check. Is that normal, or other people do credit cards, take credit cards? So most of your businesses are cash, check, 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 check. All right, so I'm going to skip this. Does anybody want to know this one? Oh, I want to know. All right, so the point is, if half of your transactions and you pay that 3%, that's $15,000, I just am trying to point out, where is that cost being added to your selling price? Nowadays, a ton of businesses charge 3% when you use a credit card. I would suggest that you add the 3% to your selling price, and if they write a check, you say, I'm going to give you a 3% discount. They'd be like, you're going to give me a discount? Yeah, you're not. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't have to pay for a credit card. And the paradigm shift that happens in a selling environment, because now it happened after they agreed to buy from you, your honesty and integrity goes way up if you add it in up front. You don't tell them you added it in, but you add it in. And then maybe you think this customer might be a little bit of trouble and you just don't say anything. My favorite phrase is the best and most profitable jobs are the one you don't take. Are there jobs that you wish you never would have took? I wish I'd have said no. And my instinct knew I should have said no. But I took it anyway. Will? It's also affected by state legislature. Will, thank you for that. Are you an attorney? But you play one on TV. All right, last slide, everybody. I got 4 minutes. Last slide. A sliding average purpose is to give perspective. So Kevin was talking about standing back, right, and being able to look at the problem. A sliding average allows you to do that. So in this case, we're going to talk about sales. What did you sell? You have to keep track of your sales weekly. What did you sell? What did you sell? What did you sell? And I don't care what it is. It could be one sale. But remember, the goal is $1 million. The perfect week is $19,231 when you take the million divided by 52 weeks, right? So you say, okay, $19,231. And the truth is that in this example that I'm going to show you, it only happened 5 times throughout the whole year did we actually sell what we thought we would sell in a week. It'd be nice if it was exactly the same every week. We installed exactly the same. Our deposits were the same. Our bills were the same. But it never happens that way, right? Some weeks we sell a lot, some weeks we don't. So the first week of January, we sold $12,000. It's the first week of January. Not everybody's going to sign off on stuff. The second week of January is $15,000. By the time we get to end of January, we finally sell a $19,461 or an average sale. $15,000, $17,000, $17,000, $22,000, $26,000. We got spring break in here. Oh, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. So the first week was $12,000, the next week was $18,000, $24,000, $22,000. Here's your averages. So what I did is I took the sales divided by 8 weeks or 2 months, which could be considered your lead time, right? My lead time is always 8 weeks. From the time you get the lead until the time you finish the job. So you take your sales every week to come up with your average. So your sales in week 1 was $12,000, your sales in week 2 was $18,000, sales in week 3, $24,000, sales in week 4, $22,000. The last week of January, you just didn't make a sale. It just didn't happen. For whatever reason, nobody bought. And we've had those, and that's okay. But I want to know what my average is, right? Because I need to decide quickly if I could fix it. If I see a trend happening, I want to know sooner rather than later. We've all had the experience where we sell a big job or we get a big deposit or we complete a big job and we got a lot of money in our checking account. And then we go, well, I'm going to buy another truck. I'm going to buy another saw. I'm going to buy more inventory, right? I'm going to buy new software. We've all had that experience of thinking, can we do that? However, if we do that, what's the effect? Well, if you start looking at your averages, your sliding average, you really know if you're trending up or trending down. So we go through it. 29,000 the first week of February, 16, 58. We've always had a big week, right? But now our average starts moving and then you graph it. So we start the year down, we graph all the way up. It drops down, we graph up, we hover. So the green line represents that 19,231, which got moved on me. And what do we do when? This allows us to make decisions quicker and without being reactive. If all of a sudden we have a week and we didn't sell anything, do we freak out? Do we say, I'm not paying my rent, or we say, I'm laying somebody off? Conversely, if we have a week where we sell $58,000, do we go buy another truck? The sliding average keeps things level. And when you start graphing them, the next average you have is your 12-month sliding average, because that's your annual. And now you start watching your graph and your trends, and now you start to understand what your business is, because as you go through your business, the cash is what keeps you alive. That's the circulation in your business. All right. None of us is as smart as all of us. That's the truth, and that's the purpose of CMA. It is now 12:01. I did it. Boy, doing spreadsheets is tough. Is there going to be another announcement of when they go to lunch? You want me to wait? Well, you're going to do it. I'm walking off.
Contractor husband, and he could school him a little bit. I'm Lori Four. I'm the Director of Network Relations at Renovar. We have a fan. For those of you not already familiar with Renovar, we're a managed repair network specializing in the repair and restoration of wood cabinets, furniture, and architectural millwork. We operate with an extensive network of certified craftsmen and women, such as yourselves, to complete repairs on insurance claims with many of the top insurance carriers across the United States. There's no cost to join our network, and we pay you directly so you can spend more time focusing on your craft and not have to wait those 40, 60, 90 days. We would like to thank the CMA for allowing us to participate in this event, and we're proud to be sponsors of the CMA's 25th anniversary celebration. We are going to break now for lunch. It will be served in the Wedgwood room. After lunch, the buses will depart for the plant tours at promptly 1:15. We will not be returning to this room, so please make sure that you take all of your belongings with you. Instructions for the tours will be shared during the lunchtime. Thank you.